Hello, DeFi Sai here with this week's update on everything that's happening in the Avalanche ecosystem, in the blockchain space, in the crypto space and beyond. This week, got a lot to unpack. We're going to talk about the record number of new Layer-1s being launched on Avalanche due to the Avalanche 9000 upgrade, and also confirmation that Avalanche are speaking with Donald Trump's administration, the incoming administration, and what this could potentially mean for Avalanche going forward. I'm DeFi Sai. I work a lot in the crypto space. I create a lot of content around Avalanche, about what's going on, giving you news and updates on things that happen in the space. I also live and work as a digital nomad, working, designing and creating crypto merch for a lot of crypto brands on Avalanche. I've also got a crypto clothing brand called SoulThumbCollective.com, which hosts a lot of crypto brands. I'm an Avalanche artist in residence. I also work for NF Treasure as their artist in residence / feature brand. So if you do like this type of content, you want to be kept updated on the Avalanche ecosystem, please do jump on and like and subscribe, and I'll be keeping you updated on everything that's happening, all the news and updates. One thing to bear in mind is that everything we say in these videos is not financial advice, it's my opinions and thoughts on the space. So let's jump into this week's news. Let's look at price action first. So for the last week ending, Bitcoin recently closed on 96,422. It opened the week on 98,033. So no 100k Bitcoin yet, but could this be the week that it does? It's been ranging around that level a lot, so it does feel like it's fueling up the jets, getting ready to move on up. On to AVAX. AVAX opened the week on 42.04 and it's recently closed on $45.09. Now, since taking these figures on, I actually paused this video a little bit because it actually pumped on up and had a bit of a good move up, and it recently touched a high of $48.93. So it does look like it's on the move again, which is something that we love to see. So could we already be seeing the start of things really starting to move based on some of the news I'm going to tell you about? Obviously the recent 9000 upgrade, could this be the week that it starts to push through and gets over that $50 mark, which we would love to see? So let's take a look at the Avalanche ecosystem. If you look at the Avalanche ecosystem, it's still very much a mixed bag there. With all that in mind, looking at it, it's mostly red that we can see over the last 7 days. Now, this kind of got me thinking about a mini cycle that could be playing out with all of the news that's coming out about AVAX or Avalanche itself, such as the amazing partnerships, the 9000 upgrade, and all of the generally bullish sentiment that there is around the chain. It feels like there's a bit of a mini thing playing out. And it feels like you can also liken it to what happens with Bitcoin dominance. It's a mini cycle that's happening at the moment. In the AVAX itself is swallowing up all of the liquidity that's on the chain. So we're seeing AVAX itself had really good price rises. It's pumping up, it's on a steady rise. So as the price rises, more and more liquidity is coming onto AVAX itself, which means that anything coming new into the chain, people are investing in AVAX as opposed to the tokens on it. So what might well happen is that it will then start to flow into the meme coins and the coins below. So the bigger market cap coins, your coins like Cock, etc., it will then flow onto the rest of the ecosystem. Possibly flowing into, it sounds crazy saying this, but what are the legacy meme coins that are on AVAX? So if you think of the coins that were in your meme coin rush, your Kimbos, your Gex, etc., coins like that, it will flow into them first and then possibly onto the newer coins and then onto the super brand new coins and the new, like more speculative ones that are launched on your DEXs like your Apexes and your Bellum. So it's almost looking at like AVAX dominance in the small ecosystem the way we look at Bitcoin dominance. That's just my thoughts and it's something to think about. So speaking of Bitcoin dominance, let's take a look at where Bitcoin dominance is. Obviously, we look at this metric every week as a key sign that alt season is coming, and Bitcoin dominance last week continued to fall. It's currently around the 56.5% mark, which is so much lower than the 60 to 61% that we were seeing. So is this drop signaling the start of our alt season? Personally, I don't think it is just yet. I have said this before and I will say it again, obviously not financial advice. I do still feel like Bitcoin's due a crazy pump which takes it over the 100k, possibly a pullback and then pushing on, which I think will also take Bitcoin dominance up with it. But like I always say, this is crypto, so be prepared for anything. On to the news from the week from AVAX on the Avalanche ecosystem. So the big news was undoubtedly the news that Avalanche's biggest ever update, the Avalanche 9000 upgrade, has hit testnet. There's been lots of news coming out about that this week, about everything it's going to do. Now, it's a huge upgrade of the Avalanche ecosystem, and the basics of this are, what you can take home from this is that it's going to be cheaper for someone and easier to spin up their own Layer-1, so in effect start their own blockchain built on Avalanche, which is why we're seeing a lot of these new partnerships being announced of projects that are building their own Layer-1s. And gas fees are also going to be reduced by around 95%. Now, I've spoken a lot about this in previous videos. I've also recently done a detailed video on Avalanche 9000, so I will link that up to the top where you can have a look at that. So if you do want to know what Avalanche means for now, for the future. And for people like you and for people like me that are part of the Avalanche ecosystem, I would recommend watching that video just to find out more and to really understand what it's all about. Now, to coincide with the launch of 9000, Avalanche have also launched a super cool funding program. Now, this funding program is aimed to support and encourage projects that are building their own layer ones on Avalanche, which, as we've said, is much easier and cheaper to do. Now, this program is called Retro 9000, and it's going to see up to $40 million. These are going to be in retroactive grants, which are going to be distributed to these projects that are building on there. There's also going to be up to $2 million set aside for referrals as well. So, if you're a builder, what do you need to do? Basically, what you need to do is start your own layer one. So you're going to register your own layer one, all the related tooling for it on the Retro 9000 site. You need to build publicly, and then you need to ship it onto mainnet. Once you've done this, you can then, in theory, get rewarded by the Avalanche community, who can vote for, there's going to be in set rounds. So the Avalanche community can vote to decide who they want to receive these retroactive grants. Now, I get that most of us aren't builders, so what can we do? How can it impact you or I, someone that's not a builder? So what we can do is we can cast our vote, and you do this by going onto the Retro 9000 website, which I will add links to in the description below. Once you're on the Retro 9000 website, which is retro9000.avax.network, you can see all the projects that have already built their layer one and have submitted the required documentation that we spoke earlier on. They've submitted that to show this. Now, the amazing thing is there's already been over 700 new layer ones submitted, which you can see on this tweet from Snowperio, which is on X, which is awesome to see. So that's 700 layer ones that didn't exist that now do exist. So you can see a list of these layer ones once you're on the AVAX Retro 9000 site. You can then, what you do is connect your wallet, and it's then going to show you how many votes you can allocate, which is the amount of votes that you have. So it's in effect your voting power. Now, your voting power is weighted and based on your Frosty Metrics rating. For those of you that don't know, Frosty Metrics is a one-stop platform, and it pulls all the Avalanche data from all the various wallets. So I'll pop the links in the description of this as well, so you can go and have a look. So what you do to find out your rates is you can go onto the Frosty Metrics site, you copy and paste your wallet address in there. It will then give you what's known as a chill factor, which is basically your rating. It's based on your points rating. And these ratings range from warm all the way up or down in temperature, I guess, to sub-zero. So sub-zero is the highest rating, and you earn points for your rating based on a number of different factors. As an example, there's things like total transactions, the amount of unique contracts, the amount of unique tokens you hold, the amount of unique NFTs you hold, the amount of AVAX you've spent on gas, and a few more things as well. So it's basically a rating on how active you have been on the Avalanche blockchain. Now, it's a really great tool. It's an interesting tool. You can also check all of your own individual wallets. So, I don't know if you're like me, you've got multiple wallets, one that you use for trading, one that you use for anything super DeFi, one that you use for holding, one that you use for NFTs. So you can check all of your individual wallets, so be sure to check them all. And also, when you're on the Retro 9000 site, be sure to check all of your wallets, because you'll be allocated points for each. So when you go on the Retro 9000 site, it automatically pulls this information when you connect your wallet. So it's the wallet you're currently in, and it will then allocate you your number of votes based on that. And then once you're on the site, you can scroll through to see all of the applicants to date. You can also check the leaderboard. You can look at all of the information on each project, which can then help you decide who you want to allocate your votes for. Now, what you can do is also, you can choose to allocate all of your votes to one project, or you can part allocate your votes to different projects. So have a look through. If there's a few that you like, decide on your favorite, give that more, decide on one, whatever you want to do. You can see how that's working on the screen now. Now, just be aware, once you allocate your votes, you do also have to then confirm your votes. So just be sure to do this. Now, this is a great way for you as someone in the Avalanche community to use your voting power to support new layer ones on Avalanche. You can have your say on who you feel deserves the grants. Also, it does mention on that you can earn points through referrals. Now, there's not much information on how the referrals thing works. So I'm going to look around, try and find a bit more info on this, and I will drop you an update on how that works. I'll pop my referral code down just if anyone wants to use it. And there has also been some potential rumours of future airdrops for users and voters that are going to be based on your Frosty Metrics rating. Now, there is nothing official on this. I've not heard anything. It's just whispers that I've heard. But if I do hear anything, obviously I'll let you know, because I know how much we are of an airdrop. So why is all of this important for the rest of us about people that are on Avalanche? Now, I have spoken previously about how all of these new layer ones are going to be contributing to the AVAX ecosystem. So again, if you want to know more about that, watch the video where I explain about 9,000 because I go into that in detail. But the TLDR, the details of this are basically more layer ones mean more activity. As more layer ones launch and grow, more AVAX is going to be used and burned by these, which should increase the price of these and demand for AVAX as it makes it deflationary. Also, all of these customer layer ones, whatever sector they're in, so whether they're in finance, whether they're in gaming, whether it's DeFi or any other sector that's building their own layer ones, it's these layer ones being built is what's going to be driving the adoption of blockchain tech, and in particular of the Avalanche tech. So people are going to be coming on as new users, again, whether it's a game, if they're playing off the grid, if they're jumping on a DeFi site, these people are going to be using this tech, and a lot of them, especially if it's in the game, etc., they're not even going to know that what they're interacting with is Web3, it's with blockchain, it's with Avalanche. They will just know that whatever they're using, whatever site, if it's a game, for example, they'll just know as they're playing away that this game works, it works well, it works fast, and also any transactions that they're going to do online using a crypto, it's going to be nice and cheap to use, and it's going to be super secure. So all these people using these Avalanche layer 1 blockchains is what real world application looks like and what real world adoption looks like. I have said it before and I will say it again, that for me, this is what Avalanche does best. So jump over now, cast your vote on there, get everything connected up. If you want to drop any things in the comments, let me know who you're voting for. I would love to hear. Now, on to some things that caught my eye this week. There was a super interesting tweet that caught my eye, and this is from Zach Lines, who is at ChainlinkGod. Now, he stated that Hashdex, a financial institution, has just filled in an S1 form with the SEC to create the NASDAQ Crypto Index US ETF. Now, this includes a number of crypto assets, and it includes Avalanche, which we'd love to see. As I said, there's a number of other crypto assets that are included in this potential ETF. So you've got Bitcoin in there, you've got Ethereum, you've got Link and Litecoin. All of those coins are on the list. So they've all met the criteria. So what that essentially means is that it's going to be easier for more TradFi types of people. So people that don't necessarily want to hold a crypto, but they will have access to crypto investing. Now, the way they do this is by investing in the ETF rather than crypto directly. So there is a set number of detailed criteria that these crypto assets have to meet to be included on this list. And Avalanche hits them all, which we'd love to see. Now, there's been a lot of talk recently about ETFs since like forever, and I know how much we went through to get the Bitcoin ETF approved, and now Gary Gensler's on his way out, the Trump's coming in, it should be much easier. So what is an ETF? It's an electronic tracker fund, and it means it's an investment that tracks the price of the assets that are included in the ETF. And obviously we know the Bitcoin was one recently approved, but I do think a lot of people don't really understand it about how this ETF would actually work. So let me break it down a little bit for you. So it's through Hashdex, who are a global pioneer in crypto asset management. What they would do is they would essentially buy and hold the chosen crypto assets. So it's effectively an investment pot. And what people would then do is, instead of going out buying AVAX directly, they would then buy shares in the investment pot. So rather than the person that's buying the shares, they wouldn't be holding the specific crypto in their wallet, they would be holding shares in the investment pot. What they would then do, as the price moves up, etc., they would then be able to get the rewards from the group of crypto assets from the shares that they hold instead of holding the crypto assets. So why is that important for Avalanche? So first off, I mean, being included in these types of investment pots, being seen in these ETF, it brings eyes onto both crypto as a whole and onto Avalanche. As you're going to get people who maybe wouldn't think to invest directly in a crypto, they might think it's too risky, they might not understand it, they might find it too difficult. However, these people, these more TradFi people, are going to be gaining exposure to AVAX, and they're going to be doing it in what they see as a more trustworthy way. So first off, it's bringing on more eyes. Also, for any financial institutions that are offering a crypto ETF. So for example, if they're offering an ETF that classes AVAX as one of its assets, the fund has to actually hold the crypto asset themselves. Now, this is what's known as a physically backed ETF. So as the ETF becomes more popular and they want to hold more AVAX, the institution that offers the ETF has to actually go and purchase more AVAX, or whatever the specific crypto asset is, which means obviously more buys for AVAX, which, as we all know, if we're getting huge buys flooding in, that's always a good thing, and it can make number go up. Now, following on from that tweet, there's something that I've spoken previously about how I think the Donald Trump presidency is going to impact crypto. I've done a full detailed video on that, which again, I will link up to at the top there or up there so you can watch it and you can find out what my thoughts on how that's going to be. Now, there's been a few more things I've seen this week that I think should bring Avalanche more into the spotlight too. Now, Donald Trump was talking this week about how he would like the CFTC, which is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, about how he would like them to in effect be leading the way when it comes to crypto regulation, as opposed to what's traditionally happened when it's the old heads trying to do it. So the board of this organisation is made up of several crypto people, shall we say, and one of the key members of this board is our very own founder, the block father himself, Mr. Emin Gun Sirer. Now, this is obviously fantastic news for our position. It's a fantastic position to be in if he's going to be in charge of maybe coming up with some of the regulations for crypto and bringing on its adoption. Now, the plot thickens some more with a tweet that I've just recently seen from Digital Cleavage. Now, they asked Emin if AVAX are in talks with the new administration, to which Emin replied, yes, of course we are. However, you will not see us parade our political connections in social media, you'll just suddenly see results. In typical Avalanche fashion, plan accordingly. Gulps, this is amazing. So for me personally, this is super exciting. It's something amazing to think about. I've spoken so many times before about how Avalanche seems to be quietly positioning themselves for the future of blockchain, for the future adoption. They're making partnership with all these financial institutions, with blue chip organizations, and surely when you're looking about blue chip organizations, the most blue chip of them all will be onboarding an actual government, a nation state, and imagine if it was the United States of America. Now, it's been spoken widely about too, how Vice President-elect JD Vance, so the guy that's going to be the next Vice President, is a huge Avalanche holder. People have found his wallets, we've seen this. So, as always, not financial advice, but if we just start joining some of these dots together, it does look like something big is brewing, which would be amazing. I've said it before and I'll say it again, could this be the start of what we call the great rotation to the red chain? It might be time to hold on to your hats, it might not be. That's pretty much it for the update this week on the Avalanche blockchain. I've kept it relatively quick this week because there's a hell of a lot happening, so I want to be able to drop you a few more updates during the week. And like I say, I do create lots of crypto content, mostly focused on the Avalanche blockchain because that's where I call home. So if you do like this type of content, if you want to know more about what I'm up to with the design work, with the creative for projects, little hint, bit of alpha, I'm also going to be launching a meme coin soon. So I will pop the links to that in the description. It's a secret for now, the title, and it's going to be released soon. So do jump on if you want to know more about that. My name is DeFi Sai. Again, if you like this type of content, please do like and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed it and I'll be speaking very soon. Peace out and good vibes.